if you see employment growth is high in a country, you might think, well, their economy is growing. It might be a good source of customers, right? So these are things we got to think about when we're thinking about where we're going to locate our operations or whether we're going to penetrate a market or not, right? Okay, so let's get the correlation. This is a pretty easy problem. I'm going to copy the data into Excel. Yeah, it seems like most of my classes, I have half or most of my students from a foreign country. It's really cool because I always tell people that the place I don't want to live in Utah is in the suburbs where everybody thinks and acts like me. I want to be in places where there's diversity of culture, languages. I find observing people and talking to people of different cultures to be fascinating. That's why I love Coney Island. Was it? That's why I like Coney Island Beach during the summer. Every race, religion, ethnicity, whatnot, you can see on that beach, right? All summer long. And people are just getting along, right? Enjoying the weather, enjoying the hot dogs, enjoying the beverages and the hot sun, enjoying getting cooled down by the water. Kids are playing, right? It's just a fun place to hang out, I think. All right, so for the correlation, what do we got to do? So I'm gonna make this bold. Correlation. We need the correlation between information technology as a percent of total investment and average annual percentage change in employment. Let me close these other web pages or these other Excel sheets. Okay. Now to get the correlation, all you do is you type equal coral. You start typing equal COR and you should see it, right? There's two ways we can do this. We can use the rows and columns, right? So let me blow that up so you can see it. Yeah, let me zoom it out. That's a little too much soon. Also, I'm going to put my open math on this side, right? Put my open math over here, and then I'll put the Excel spreadsheet over here on the left. And let me check the zoom. Okay, there we go. So what I did is I typed equal and then CORREL for correlation. So if you start typing equal COR, you'll see it in the list, right? So when you start typing C, then you type O, then you type R, you'll see it. There's only one there, right? You can double click on it now. Okay. And then you can use the mouse to one click and hold down the left button to get the investment numbers, and then hit a comma, get the employment growth numbers. And you should get something between -1 and 1. I'll shrink the decimal places up to 4 because I think it's 4 decimal places. Yeah. So this is B12. Do you have the country in A1? Okay, so you have Madagascar's investment in B2 and employment growth in C2, right? Oh, you have a different country. Okay, yeah, I got a random country generator. This is made up data, right? So yeah, if you have the numbers in cells B2 to C12, then this is the first column right here, right? And then you got a comma, and that's the second column, right? Now, another way to do this, instead of using B2 to B12, we could do this. Check this out. Look, I can highlight the names. Samara, I can highlight the names and the data, right? Down to that last country. And then I can go to name, I can go to formulas, and I can do name manager or create from selection. Check mark top row, and then check this out. That has named that column IT investment. See that? It's named that, doing that has named this IT investment. It has also named these cells employment growth with underscore. So instead of doing B2 to B12, what I could do is I could just spell, I can just spell IT, right? IT, and then click on this down here. IT investment is a name of these cells. IT investment is called an Excel object. An object is a cell or a group of cells that have been named, right? So IT investment is the name of these cells. And then over here, I could do employment growth, right? And then just double click on name of that object, right? So employment growth is this red box. Y'all see that? Pretty cool, right? You can hit enter and you get negative, got negative 8212, right? Does everybody know how to name objects of cells? You can also just highlight the numbers, you know, by the country, right? The numbers by the country from Antigua to Madagascar. And then you can just click on that and change the name, right? But if you highlight both of them, then you can name them simultaneously with the name manager, right? So over here, I got a negative 0.8212. Now, maybe the reason why the negative correlation here is countries that have high IT investment. Maybe what's going on is the factories that are being added are robotic factories. Have you guys seen the Toyota commercial where you don't really see a human being in the factory? All you see is robots putting the cars together. If that's what we're talking about, IT investment, because you need a lot of IT for that, right? If that's what's going on, then you might see a drop in employment growth, right? Well, you got to remember this right here. Yeah, this is just made up data, right? Sometime in the future, when robots and AI are doing the labor, all the manual labor, right? All the assembly, and humans are managing that process, right? People are afraid of AI, but the thing about AI is most people are using ChatGPT professionally. Like if they're using an AI in programming, they tell the AI, look, I need a code to do this. And what they do is they get the code and then they modify it. They make it better, right? Or if you need a cover letter for somebody, you tell ChatGPT, yeah. What I did is I needed a letter recommendation and I didn't have time to really write it. So I had ChatGPT generate a letter recommendation. Then I took it and I held it up. I added a bunch of detail to it, right? I think that makes us more productive. So to me, it's just an extension of Grammarly. Right now I have Grammarly on my Google Chrome, right? When I write an email, because I'm typing so fast, I got so many students to get through, I have Grammarly checking me, right? I got to fix that, 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 right? Because I'm typing so fast, trying to get through all these emails. So Grammarly makes me more productive. Well, ChatGPT, right, provides the basic form of what I want to do, and then I go through and I edit the whole thing, right? That's how I have used it a couple times recently. Right.
Using this, people also can lose the job because you have that people that move or the for that job cannot have.
So if the IT is being used in a factory that eliminates factory workers and has robots and AI, doing a lot of that work, you're going to eliminate those jobs, right? Now, the key is, what do the people who lose their jobs do? Well, they can go back to school and get new job skills, right? And they can get job skills for that new type of job, right? I don't fear that, by the way. The fear of mechanization, the fear of automation, the fear of AI, the fear of robots, that goes back 300 years. You had when the loom was invented and started to be implemented throughout Great Britain, textile workers would go through and burn down factories that had automated their jobs away because they feared the future. All it did is just made England more productive, and it didn't have a negative impact on employment over the long run. Then on the short run, it probably did, but over the long run, it had probably a positive effect on employment growth. All right, so we got that. Now we want to create a scatter plot, right? How do we create a scatter plot? We want percentage of total investment on the horizontal axis. Now, if you highlight the two columns, everybody, what's going to be on the horizontal axis is investment. Samara, one. If you highlight the two columns to make your scatter plot, what's going to be on the x-axis by default? When you do a point in the xy plane, what number comes first in the point? X or Y? Is X here and Y's here, or is it flipped? Yeah. So the numbers on the right are going to be the points that correspond to the X values. The numbers on the left are going to be the values that correspond to the Y axis for those points. Y'all see that? So highlighted like this, we should be able to create a scatter plot with investment on the horizontal axis, the X axis, right? So what we want to do here is highlight, including the names, right? Click insert, and then scatter plot. And what do we get here? We get a graph that shows how investment growth affects, or investment affects investment growth, right? What's that? Oh, like when I created the graph, I highlight the names and the values, not the correlation. The names and the values in investment and employment growth. Then I go to insert, and then I click charts, right, with the dots, and I pick the one that doesn't have lines. Okay. See that? So this is a visualization of the table, right? What's better, if you had 10 seconds to look at the table, if you had to make a quick decision, why is it so sensitive? Samara, what would you rather look at? If you had 10 seconds to make up your mind about something regarding IT and employment growth, would you rather look at the data? If you look at this table of data, do you get the idea, do you get the feeling that it's a negative relationship between the two? If there's a negative relationship between investment and employment, do you get that feeling by just looking at the numbers? Or would you rather look at the scatter plot? According to the scatter plot, what's going on? There's a clear negative relationship, right? You all see that? So this scatter plot visually describes the raw data, right? It summarizes the raw data. Okay. Okay, so we created a scatter plot with information technology. How do we know information technology is down here? How do we know this is information technology here? What was that, Samara? Oh, well, we can do. Yeah. Yeah. So my question is, how do we know that this axis right here is information technology? What is the maximum value of information technology investment? What's the maximum value? Down here it says 6.72. What's the minimum value? 0.02. You see that? Over here, what's going on? I'm going from the minimum of 6.29 to a maximum of 12, right? So the maximum is 12. This has to be employment growth. You see that? Because this is 12. And the minimum is just above 6. So this has to be employment growth, right? Whereas this down here has to be IT, right? Because IT's minimum is near 0 and its maximum is just under 7. So this right here is IT, right? So maybe IT, and IT, remember, IT is information technology investment as a percent of total investment. So if you have a small IT investment, maybe you have more manual labor, right? A famous economic story, a dictator brings, I think, Milton Friedman down to his country and he goes, look at this wonderful jobs program. And it's a bunch of people using shovels to dig a canal. And Milton Friedman said, well, if you think shovels are a good employment job program, rather than using backhoes are big earth movers, right? If you think shovels are better than backhoes, why not use spoons? You could have even more people using spoons to dig the canal, right? So it could be the case that countries that have low investment in IT as a percent of total investment, maybe they have lots of manual laborers and employment's really, really high and everybody's working, right? Maybe that's what it is. Countries that have a large percentage of IT, maybe they have less of that, right? Maybe they have less of it. Okay, so now what do we got to do? We got to put a trend line in here. You know how to put the trend line in here? Jacobo, how do you put a trend line in here? Do you know? Oliver, you don't know? Juan, do you know how to put the trend line in? How do you put a trend line in here? Anybody know? Samara? Emmanuel? Okay. All you do is you find a dot, you hover over a dot, and you right click. And you add trend line. See how easy that was? Everybody got it? Samara? Hover over a dot, right click, add a trend line. You see the line right there? I'm going to modify my trend line. I'm going to click the bucket. I'm not going to kick the bucket. I'm not going to kick the bucket. Kick the bucket in American means die. I'm not going to kick the bucket. I'm going to click the bucket of paint. I'm going to change the line to red. And I'm going to change it to a solid line. See that? Oh, you got to click this down here. See over here on the right? You have these dash types. You can click a solid line. Right? You all see that? But now I need what else? What else do I need? If you go to the very, click on the line, click on the line again. See, I clicked on the line. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you click the bars right here. So I've clicked the bucket. I'm going to go back to the bars. I'm going to add display equation on the chart, display R squared. You guys see it? Make the font red and I'll make it bold.
How do you make it red?
Oh, to make the equation red? Or the line red? Oh, you click the line. Click on the line. Don't click on the dot, click on the line.
Yeah.
And then come over here to format trend line. And then click the bucket. There's a bucket of paint. Click the bucket of paint and then change the color to red. And then you can change it from a dash to a solid line. Down here, dash type. Okay, and then click on the line again. If you're on bucket here, click back on the bars under format trend line. See that? Click on the bars. And you can scroll down and you can check mark display equation on chart, display R square on chart. And you know what the R square is in this case? What do you think the R square is equal to? If I square the correlation, what do you think I get? If I square the correlation, what do you think I get? I get R square. Yeah. So this is the R square. Another name for correlation is R. Another name, oh. The name for correlation is R. And R square is just the square of that correlation. Any questions?
Yeah, but we cannot. Okay. Then when you can just pick the value.
Yeah, you can just do it here. Yeah, I'm just showing you where it comes from. Yeah. So if you want the R square in the equation to be shown on the chart, you right click the line, format trend line. Make sure the 3 bars are checked or clicked, and then scroll down to the bottom, and it'll ask if you want to display equation on chart. Yes. It'll ask if you want to display R square value on chart, and you say yes. Okay. So the R square equals what? In the chart, the R square is, my R square is equal to 0.6744. My slope is negative 0.7576. My intercept is 13.028. Do you have the equation? Okay, right click on the line. Format trend line. Are the 3 bars clicked? It should be default, right? Clicked. Yeah. You go to the bottom and you click check mark the bottom 2 things. You got it? Also, you can do this too. Check this out. I can do, check this out. I'm gonna write slope right here. Everybody check this out. I'm gonna write slope. Yeah. Slope. Everybody looking?
Yeah.
Mara, Oliver, Jacopo. I'm gonna calculate the slope. Right here, right? Slope. I'm gonna type, what am I gonna type here? Equal slope. What I do, I grab, I just do IT, right? IT investment. And then, that's the known Y's, sorry. Known Y's are the what? Employment growth. Employment growth are the known Y's, right? Vertical axis is the employment growth. IT investment is the x-axis. And guess what? My slope is, drum roll please, right there. See that? My slope is my line right there. And if I want to do the intercept, I want the intercept line. What do you think I type? equal intercept. Again, I want the known y's. The known y's are employment growth. And I want the known x's, which are the IT investment. And so I can use Excel just to do it. Right? Okay, so you can get it from the chart, or you can use Excel commands to get it, right? Now, what does the R square tell us, everybody? Well, the R square is R square considered high? What's the highest value of a correlation? What's the highest value of a correlation? 1. What's the lowest value of correlation? -1, right? If you square -1, what do you get? 1. So the R square's maximum value is 1. Right? 1. You can think of it as 100%. You can think of this as 67.44%. If I had 100% R square, what would be the case here? If I had 100% R square, where would the dots all lie? The dots would be on the line.
Yeah. Or
so the bigger the R square, what happens to the square of the dots? Slams to the line. If the R square was 0, what would it look like?
I'm supposed to be here.
If the R square was 0, it would be a horizontal band of points. Probably. No correlation. Right? So the further the points get from the line, the closer R square goes to 0. The closer R square gets to 100, what happens? The closer the lines are to the points are to the line. So if your R square starts at 0, right, you have data points everywhere. But as that R square increases toward 1 or 100%, the data points get closer to the line, right? Everybody remember that from statistics? If not, just a good review, right? It's a good thing that you're in this class. You get this review, right?
The answer is IIL squared, but
4 decimals? 4 decimals? Did you use 4 decimals? Try, how many decimal places do you have? Try more decimal places, like 4. Try 4 decimal places? Yeah, Samara. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for the, you can get the slope or the R square from here, Samara. Do you have the equation on your graph? That right there, the thing in front of the X is a slope. And this right here's the intercept. Okay. I know, I'll get there. Yeah, and this is the R square, right? You got that? Okay. Down here, the correlation is what? Equal coral, parenthesis, IT investment, employment growth, right? The R square is the same. The R square is just square that. You're just squaring the correlation. Yeah, you're just squaring it, right? The caret 2, you're squaring it. All right. The slope, all you do is you type equal slope, right? And the first object is employment growth, right? Why is the first object employment growth here? Because those are our Y's, right? That's the vertical axis. Our Y's, all right, it tells you right here, right? Known Y's. See that? Known Y's. The blue box, employment growth, are our Y's. Then you got a comma. Everybody see the comma? You got a comma, and then you got investment. Why is IT investment second? Well, in this command, the X's come second. Right? Everybody got it? Yeah. And then you can copy this stuff in parentheses. Copy the stuff in parentheses. And then down here, the intercept, you can do this. I equal intercept, and then paste the growth, comma, IT investment. Huh? Doesn't it give you a value? Did you name the columns?
Yeah.
You can name this. You can name these, right? Go to formulas. Create from selection. Top row, keep the names of the objects. Right? And then here. Whoop, this is almost. Yeah. That's what they're. What do you hear is T investment. See? Like it's that object. Comma. And you can put it. Look at that. Because really, IT investment. One of those. Yeah. And you score it out. And then the slope. The slope, you say equals slope. And the Y's, the first one's the Y's, right? One Y's, that's employment growth. Right? And the known X's, the next thing, right? The known X's are the IT investment. Yeah. And you hit enter. And then they'll let you do an intercept. So much. Back to these and go back. Oh. Yeah, I think what happened here is you picked the wrong shirt. Now, highlight. Not that. IT investment down to 20,000. Go grab that, go grab that. Oops. Okay, click right here. Oops. Yep. Hit insert. Yeah, insert and then scatter plot. That one. There you go. And then right, and then we click on the dot. Right click on the dot. That one, and then go down to check. Okay. You got your equation. Your correlation. R square. Cool. Awesome. You got all of it?
Yeah, I got it here, but the enters.
Yeah, whoops, sorry.
Different. Here. This one's correct.
Okay, you gonna look on it? No Y's. Oh, they're backwards.
Oh,
Yeah, you gotta put them around. You can actually, I'll say that. Okay. You type 18. Oh, you didn't? Okay.
I tried.
Just hit enter. Just type 18. Hit enter. And come up here. And name that item. 18. There you go. Do the same one. He's got it backwards. Slow. Slope's different too. Yeah. Yeah. Flip around.
Yeah.
And then you put a comment on.
What's the going first? So first would be.
Yeah.
Column.
Yeah, okay, so if you look at the slope equation, it says what, give you a hint,
Well, yeah.
right there.
You do first and then.
Yeah, you got to. Good, what, you got it?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Hi, Rob. Oh, you got questions, Mark?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, you're back.
So when you go to
Yeah, no, it's like easy to say. No,
somebody, I would think, I would assume so that's one is more than that.
yes.
One is Sweden. I mean, everyone will call you one, but the Swedish version is.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's your village. You don't get that. It's not really sweet. Maybe it's where.
But it's-
What you should. I'm leaning, but I'm loving the blinking shit.
and don't be-
Well, India. Well, go to. That's yours.
I'm so bad.
Oh.
Mira,
It's full of mistakes.
what they do is
All the pros. Copy the person.
but again, they do. Not even.
Intercept.
I think we-
And then you go back.
Look at this.
You go.
I got the
Look at that. Really?
Okay.
That was cool.
By the way, did everybody have a negative slope?
Yeah.
Did everybody have a negative slope?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but what, you know why?
Well, it's just the way I modeled it. It's not real data, remember? Everybody, this is not real data. I made it up. I made it up. This is in the future when robots and AI take over manufacturing and doing all the menial jobs that nobody likes doing, right? All right, so let's move on. It'll be the day where humans are liberated from manual labor. And Marxism will not have been needed. We'll be liberated from labor, right? We won't need Marxism. We'll be liberated. The workers of the world won't need to unite. The AI and the robots will have to unite because the robots and the AI will be doing all the work, right? Okay, if a nation's information technology as a percentage of total investment equals 3, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the line. We're gonna use the line here. Okay, so I need to know what Y is given X, right? So my X equals what over here? It's kind of like pulling the model. You've gathered data, you've estimated a line. Now you want to deploy the model. You do this a lot in data analytics, but in data analytics, you kind of bury the stuff in the web pages. You can kind of bury the stuff in web pages and use Python underneath your web page, and you can create these kind of analytics within a web page, right? So you got this data, you've estimated this relationship. Now we need to make predictions, right? So X here is equal to what? What is my X equal to? In number 3. My X is equal to 3, right?
Yeah.
I want to know what my Y is. How do we find out what Y is if X is equal to 3? How do we know what employment growth will be if information technology as a percent of total investment equals 3. How are we going to do that? Well, I'm gonna under Y, I'm gonna type equals, right? Get equals. I'm gonna click on my intercept. So I got equal my intercept, right? Every look. I'm trying to predict Y based on what X is, right? 3. So I got equal B16. 16 is where my intercept is, right? Then I'm gonna hit plus, right? Plus. And then I'm gonna click on my slope, right? My slope. And then I'm gonna do what? Times what? The value vector, right? 3. What I'm doing is I'm substituting a number in the equation I estimated in my graph, right? Everybody see that? Huh? Well, this right here, the Las Vegas sign, is from question 3. If the nation's information technology equals 3, I want to know what my employment level is.
Yeah.
This is IT right here, right? And this is what employment growth is.
So for one, so this is.
Yeah, B16 is my intercept. B15 is my slope. And then B19 is this 3 value. I want to predict what employment growth will be if my IT, hey, that rhymes. I want to predict what my employment growth will be if my IT is 3. Yo, I should be a rapper. That's pretty good. I rhyme pretty good, right? Every see it? So I'm deploying the model that I estimated, right? I got 10.5. Now, does that make sense graphically? Every look real quick. At 3, right? If I go straight up from 3, what should be my height about? What's the height if I go up straight up at 3? 10, right? Looks good, right? Samara, on your graph, if you what's your value for X? Did everybody get 3? Okay. So make sure it looks right. Make sure it looks right graphically, right? When I plug in 3 to my graph, yeah. When I plug in 3, what do I get? If I go up to the red line from 3, I get something over 10, right? Is that what I calculated? Yep. Get 10.755. Okay. Now all you gotta do is do what? You can just change the 3 to what? I'm gonna change my 3 to 8, or I'm gonna change my 3 to 7, right? Because in question 4, I want to know what employment level will be if total investment is 7, right? So I just change that to 7. Now, does that make sense graphically? So if my employment level is now 7, right? If my IT investment is 7, my employment growth should be probably under 8, right? And I got 7.725. It looks good graphically, right? What does the R-square value imply? Let me remember from statistics. We had to convert it to percentages, right? How do you convert the R-square to percentage? Everybody look. I want to convert it to a percentage, right? I can either multiply by 100 in my head, do the decimal places twice, or I can go up here and click percent, right? But I can just look at that and go, oh, that's 67.44%, right? 67.44%. The R-square value implies that 67.44% of the variation in what we're predicting employment change, right? We're predicting Y is our employment change, right? So the variation in this employment change is explained by the IT investment. That's what that R square implies.